What if I told you that some of the most dangerous criminals in history became more famous than movie stars? That women lined up for hours just to catch a glimpse of a killer? Tonight we dive into the twisted psychology behind our obsession with evil. Throughout history, certain criminals have transcended their crimes to become cultural phenomena. Their trials became spectacles, their stories became headlines, and their names became legends. But what drives our fascination with those who commit the unthinkable? Why do we turn monsters into celebrities? Our first case takes us back to the 1970s, when one man's trial became the most watched legal proceeding in American history. Women traveled from across the country just to see him. He received thousands of love letters in prison, but behind the charm and good looks was a monster responsible for the deaths of at least 30 young women. Psychologists call it the halo effect. When someone appears attractive or charismatic, we unconsciously attribute other positive qualities to them, even when they are accused of horrific crimes. The visiting room at his prison was always packed with admirers. He even got married while on death row. The media couldn't get enough of the story. Books about the case became bestsellers. Movies were made. Every day of the trial was front-page news. In Milwaukee in 1991, police made a discovery that would shock the world. What they found in apartment 213 was beyond imagination. Yet when the killer went on trial, the courtroom was packed every single day. The media frenzy was unprecedented. Forensic psychologists struggled to understand the public's morbid fascination. Some said it was our need to understand evil. Others believed it was simple voyeurism. Whatever the reason, the killer received fan mail daily. Thousands of letters arrived each week, many from women professing their love. Books about his crimes topped bestseller lists. Hollywood came calling. Los Angeles, 1985. A city lived in terror as a serial killer stalked the night. The media dubbed him the Night Stalker. For over a year, no one was safe. The largest task force in LAPD history hunted him. When he was finally caught, his trial became a media circus unlike any before. He claimed to worship Satan. In court, he would flash satanic symbols to the cameras. Teenage girls dressed in black gathered outside the courthouse daily. They sent him letters, photos, and marriage proposals. Criminologists called them hybristophiliacs, people sexually attracted to criminals. The phenomenon is more common than you might think. He married one of his admirers in a prison ceremony. She claimed she could change him. Perhaps no criminal has achieved more celebrity status than the leader of a murderous cult in the California desert. He attracted followers with promises of love and acceptance, but beneath the peace and love facade was pure evil. The murders that followed shocked the nation. His trial became the most sensationalized in American history. Magazines competed for the most shocking headlines. Talk shows dedicated entire episodes to analyzing his psychology. Books about the case dominated bestseller lists for years. Hollywood turned the tragedy into entertainment. Audiences flocked to see films based on the murders. Even behind bars, he continued to attract devoted followers. Multiple women claimed to be married to him. Some even protested for his release. In the internet age, his fan base only grew larger. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, a forensic psychologist, has studied this phenomenon for decades. She identifies several factors that contribute to criminal celebrity. First, the need to understand the incomprehensible. We want to believe we could never do such things. Second, morbid curiosity. The same impulse that makes us slow down at car accidents. The media plays a crucial role in creating these celebrities. Sensational coverage sells papers. True crime shows dominate television ratings. Social media has amplified this obsession to unprecedented levels. But in our fascination with killers, we often forget the victims, real people with families who love them, lives cut short by senseless violence. Their stories deserve to be remembered too. Today's criminals achieve celebrity status faster than ever before. Streaming platforms dedicate entire sections to true crime content. Social media influencers build careers discussing murders. Videos about killers rack up millions of views. You can even buy merchandise featuring serial killers. The 2013 Boston Marathon bombing showed how quickly criminals can become internet celebrities. When Rolling Stone put the bomber on their cover, the backlash was swift. But teenage girls still posted about his attractiveness online. Hashtags supporting him trended worldwide. He received thousands of letters in prison. Ethicists debate whether media coverage creates more criminals. Editors struggle with balancing public interest and responsible reporting. Some news outlets now refuse to name mass shooters. Social media platforms try to limit glorification of violence. Criminologists have documented the copycat effect, how media coverage of crimes can inspire others. Killers study previous cases. They leave manifestos referencing their heroes. They hope to achieve the same notoriety. Social media amplifies their message instantly. This raises difficult questions about media responsibility. How much coverage is too much? When does reporting become exploitation of tragedy? Algorithms push the most engaging content, regardless of its impact. Female killers often receive different treatment from both media and public. If they're attractive, they're portrayed as femme fatales. Hollywood romanticizes their stories. The Black Widow who poisoned 5 husbands became a media sensation. Her trial was covered like a society event. Female killers often generate more sympathy than their male counterparts. Tears in court can sway public opinion. Support groups form to advocate for their release. Petitions gather thousands of signatures. When they're released, it becomes a media event. In 2023, a young woman's mugshot went viral. Memes were created. She received modeling contract offers while awaiting trial. Young men packed the courtroom hoping to catch her attention. Criminal celebrity has become a multi-million-dollar industry. Studios compete for the rights to killers' stories. Streaming platforms invest billions in true crime content. True crime podcasts generate millions in advertising revenue. Entrepreneurs sell everything from t-shirts to coffee mugs featuring serial killers. But who profits from these tragedies? Rarely the victims' families. Instead, corporations and content creators cash in on pain. Some states have passed laws preventing criminals from profiting from their crimes. Criminal celebrity isn't just an American phenomenon. In Victorian England, public executions drew massive crowds. Japan's most notorious killer inspired manga and anime. European killers receive fan mail from around the world. Global media ensures no story stays local anymore. Some countries have turned criminal history into tourist attractions. Murder tours take visitors to crime scenes. Gift shops sell crime memorabilia. International courts struggle with jurisdiction over global media coverage. What drives someone to seek fame through infamy? Psychological evaluations reveal common patterns. Many show signs of narcissistic personality disorder. Their childhoods often reveal early warning signs. Some were failed by the mental health system. Modern killers often document their plans online. Some even live stream their crimes. They know their actions will go viral. They crave the breaking news alerts. They want their names to dominate search results. Victims' rights organizations fight against the glorification of killers. Families of victims organize protests against sensational media coverage. They lobby for laws restricting criminal celebrity. They work to ensure victims are remembered, not their killers. Scholarship funds are created in victims' names. Journalism schools now teach responsible crime reporting. News organizations develop guidelines to avoid glorifying criminals. Some outlets focus on victims' stories instead of killers. Awareness campaigns educate the public about responsible sharing. Artificial intelligence now creates deepfake videos of criminals. Virtual reality lets people experience crime scenes. Blockchain technology enables trading of criminal collectibles. The metaverse hosts virtual crime scene tours. Recommendation algorithms push increasingly extreme content. Technology companies are developing tools to combat criminal glorification. AI systems scan for content that glorifies violence. Digital literacy programs teach critical thinking about online content. Mental health apps provide support for those struggling with dark thoughts. Constant exposure to criminal stories affects how we see the world. We install more security cameras, we lock our doors tighter, we watch our children more closely. Anxiety disorders related to crime, fear are on the rise. Constant exposure to violence desensitizes us to real tragedy. We scroll past real suffering like it's entertainment. We need increasingly extreme content to feel shocked. When young people grow up thinking violence is normal, we're losing our ability to empathize with real victims. Online comments about tragedies become increasingly cruel. Memorial services for victims go unattended, while killer documentaries break viewing records. Social media has accelerated the creation of criminal celebrities. Algorithms prioritize engagement over ethics. True crime influencers build massive followings discussing murders. Crime videos consistently rank among the most watched content. People visit crime scenes to create social media content. Social media creates echo chambers where criminal worship is normalized. Online communities form around specific killers. Conspiracy theories about their innocence spread rapidly. Misinformation about cases spreads faster than facts. Fact-checkers struggle to keep up. Teenagers grow up with serial killer posters on their walls. They choose killers as subjects for school projects. Online quizzes ask, which serial killer are you? Serial killer. Halloween costumes are bestsellers. FBI behavioral analysts warn that media coverage can inspire copycat crimes. Criminal psychologists gather annually to discuss the celebrity effect. Research consistently shows correlation between coverage and copycat crimes. Police chiefs plead with media to limit coverage of active cases. Victim advocates call for media reform. University studies track the relationship between media coverage and crime rates. The data is clear. Sensational coverage leads to more violence. Countries with responsible media policies have lower copycat crime rates. Peer-reviewed studies call for immediate media reform. Some news organizations are changing their approach. Headlines now focus on victims instead of killers. Social media platforms update their policies. Media literacy programs teach critical thinking about crime coverage. Victims' families find their voices and demand change. Each of us has the power to choose what content we consume. We can choose to read about victims' lives instead of killers' crimes. We can donate to victims' funds instead of buying criminal merchandise. We can remember the victims, not their killers. The criminals we've discussed tonight are all dead or imprisoned. Their celebrity status couldn't save them from justice, but their victims remain gone forever. Families still gather with empty chairs at the table. Children grow up without parents, siblings, friends. The choice of what stories we elevate is ours. We can choose to remember victims for who they were, not how they died. We can support survivors and families instead of glorifying killers. The power to change this narrative lies in our hands. Choose wisely.